Hello and welcome to DEE Kai, Digital Era Entertainment's weekly anime podcast. This is episode number 156. I'm one of your hosts, Joel, and joining me live on the line and via video for those of you who are watching on Twitch. For those of you who are listening in audio, we'll do our best to describe, but we've got some video today and it's being handled by Jace.
Hello, everybody.
Yes, indeed.
We're looking slightly more professional than the last time.
Yes, very nice for those who can see the video, and for those who can't, we are going to be doing our second round of New Type magazine sort of retrospective / just perusal that Jace has a nice backlog of the magazines from, well, the first issue that we have here on the table is from May 2003. I have not seen the inside of these. I'm not sure how much Jace has actually reminded himself. I think that we're both sort of going into this a little bit blind, just a trip down memory lane, one to recall the things that were happening there, but as a deeper retrospective, one for the graphic design of the age, certainly, but also to see the different stories they have. The headline here is Peter Chung and Andy Jones give you the inside scoop on the Animatrix's highly anticipated animation project. Full Metal Panic manga insert. X2, the X-Men universe expands. Read or Die. Blue Submarine number 6. Boogie Pop Phantom, Sakura Wars TV. It's very fun to explore this and see from a retrospective. Really, this was something that people bought. This is something that people held, that read. I can see from what we have here on screen, Jace, that this is a well-read issue indeed, or just a natural worn one. But before we get into all that, you and I have been a little bit behind on anime, mostly because we're busy playing Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I have actually put down Zelda for the past 2.5 days so I can binge and catch up, and I'm almost caught up on everything. All I really have left to sweep up as I double check my own list is a couple episodes of Witch from Mercury. I think that's and Tengoku Daimakyo. Everything else I'm now within an episode or fully caught up. Watched Oshinoko just before broadcast right now, and still going strong. I know that Neo Ivan, our audio engineer, has not watched that and is preparing to watch it over the weekend. So I'm not going to comment on it specifically to avoid spoilers for him. Maybe we'll talk in more detail later. But meanwhile, everything else is continuing pretty strong. That the only thing I wound up dropping this season was Kuma 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 Bear Punch. And I enjoyed season 1. It was nice. It was just, it's a fluffy power fantasy, and while it's nice, it was just not really doing anything for me, but certainly not bad. That if it's to someone's taste, I'd still recommend that they watch it. I just have too much other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think everything that I've dropped for now. There are some that I'm probably going to binge and go back to, like I let Insomniacs After School fall onto the back burner. It just too much this season to watch. Not to mention also I've been fitting in other things because like I caught up on Tokyo Revengers, and I of course watched all of Ultraman, and I've even been catching up on my Tokusatsu because I've been behind on Kamen Rider and Super Sentai, so I've been catching back up on those shows on top of it all. Ultraman Regulos just dropped as of today's recording episode 2 of its miniseries onto YouTube with a new feature that YouTube has, or I guess might be rolling out steadily more and more, multi-track audio. So YouTube has always had the capability for different language closed captioning, but the Ultraman Regulos episodes are available in both dub and sub format
via a single URL where you change the language via the tools like you would for the subtitles, as opposed to being separate uploads. That's interesting. That's actually very exciting.
I'm excited to see more stuff like this go forward. It could make YouTube a lot more user friendly for media like that in the future, and could make them a bit more of a contender beyond content creation. It would be nice to have a one-stop shop for watching media that's not using my Chromecast per se, but literally just using YouTube, because I use YouTube a lot. But nonetheless, I've still miraculously managed to keep up with the shows, and instead I've been doing the opposite. I've been catching up on Zelda and binging that.
Yeah, that's going to be my weekend plans, more or less, of just no lifing that again. That I did that not this past weekend, but the weekend it was released. And last weekend we had our radio drama of Sonic Adventure 2. And actually, I was just looking at the list of anime that was airing in May 2003. So that would be the spring 2003 anime season. And that was actually the season that Sonic X debuted in Japan. So it didn't quite hit stateside for another little while. But, that obviously was the anime adaptation of the Sonic the Hedgehog series, and it did end up covering eventually the Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 plot lines, plus some original stuff as well, that it had what was then current cast of, Sonic, Knuckles, Tails, Amy. It did have Rouge, it did have Shadow, introduced several new human characters, none of whom have actually crossed over into the games. But I only ever watched a couple episodes of it, but by all counts, it was fine. And obviously, at least here in the West, it has a very iconic presence, in the sense that, as always, 4Kids, if they were ever good at anything, boy, were they good at their intro songs. Boy, did they, just...
Man.
Yayo, the Yu-Gi-Oh theme.
Funny story about the One Piece one. Me and a friend were making fun of that theme song at PortCon Maine one year, and it was a miserable convention that year. I mean, like, I don't want to go into details of the con per se, but there was a lot of heavy drinking, because as you are going to Maine, you pass through New Hampshire, where booze is very cheap, thanks to the state, with the state liquor stores. And as a result, there was lots of drinking, and it led to us, here's my one. He's fucking wasted. How did that happen? Yo ho ho, he took a drink of rum. I can't even say it straight right now.
Oh, goodness. But no matter how much you want to rag on the original One Piece opening, it's still an earworm. It's still something that holds up to this day. And goodness knows, gotta go fast.
Although I will argue that I think, in my opinion, more infamous, at least, is still Tokyo Pop's English dub opening for Rave Master, where they just told Real Big Fish, here's the video, write lyrics to it.
Perhaps that's a better story, but I certainly don't know many people that know the lyrics to that song are going to burst out singing it.
Nobody knows the lyrics. It's just the funniest thing ever, because it's like, is it a song, like, about the show or anything? Well, yeah, quite literally, it is a song about the show, except they're singing to the video that they edited together for them.
Hey, if it's Real Big Fish, it has a baseline of being good.
Oh, it slapped. It's silly as hell. It's a welcome to a tale of a land conquered by evil. It's so
wonder how much
dumb.
They got paid for that. I hope they got paid well.
I hope they got paid really well. The most notable part of that song is when they're like, with a carrot-nosed dog. It is bad. But I mean, Kirby Right Back At Ya, I think, is probably the most notable one from 4Kids, aside from Sonic. It's like Kirby, he's the one you should know.
I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon,
Pokemon definitely.
Nothing I think is ever really going to top Pokemon, just because of what it represents in terms of pop culture nowadays.
That one went international.
Oh, yeah. But anyways, let's get to this magazine. New Type, May 2003, Volume 2, Number 5. So I'm guessing this was their second year of printing the 5th volume, obviously being 5th month of the year.
Volume 1 is literally only 2 issues. It was I believe, November and December.
Oh,
Volume 2 started
interesting.
in January.
Okay, so they were still doing it by year, and that it was technically their second calendar year of publication,
Yeah.
and it was just
But
that
this was
volume one
only
only.
the 7th issue,
Hmm.
technically.
Interesting. And it does say in this issue, free DVD.
Yep, every issue had that free DVD, which was really nice. I don't have all of them because some of them I actually wound up buying the show because the free DVD
Yeah.
did its job. It
Well, that
got
was the
me in
whole
the door.
thing. That
And
I do know.
I gave friends the free DVDs that I bought the show of because, oh my God, you got to watch this.
Yeah, I do know that while it's still a publication, it's still news to a point that a very significant amount of content in New Type, but also in things like the Shonen Jump magazines, are effectively paid advertising. That
Yep.
these types of magazines, by and large, were just advertising, that the companies would approach New Type and basically sponsor the content, just like you have nowadays for sponsored content. But it wasn't quite as obvious in that case.
Actually, I mean, it depends on how, I guess, much you were paying attention to it, because New Type, much like Shonen Jump was published by Viz, so,
Yeah,
anything
so sometimes
by
it's
them
direct
was gonna be
connection.
fun. In this case, New Type was published by 80 Vision Films, so ADV. So
I appreciate that you used the full name.
Had to use the full name, because we're talking about a corporate entity in this case. ADV's properties were very much frontmost, like boom, right there. Almost always, whether it was the DVDs or even if the shows weren't theirs, a ton of their shows were the featured trailers on the DVDs. This very much was a publicity and advertising arm for ADV Films. And you know what? It worked. I mean,
Certainly did.
I also feel like they put a lot of the better quality dubs. I think Funimation's dubs were better known because Funimation had television, whereas ADV didn't have their stuff on television, but they had a different cast pool and a different set of directors that handled their things. And New Type often exposed me to that subset that just kind of allowed me to grow an even deeper appreciation for dubbing compared to just watching whatever it was that was on Toonami and the other channels at the time. So let's crack this bad boy open.
Let's dive on in. Wait a minute. So was New Type magazine read from right to left, or because I just noticed you flipped it open that way?
In that style. It was printed in that style, actually.
Interesting.
I believe they might have had a agreement, since New Type is a anime magazine in Japan. They had they probably had to get the approval, one, to use the New Type name, two, probably had input on the way that it was produced graphic design wise. So while a lot of what you would find in the magazine was topical to America, because as you pointed out, it mentions X2, like an American, Hollywood movie, or the Animatrix, a lot of content for New Type was also pulled from New Type Japan.
I was going to say, did they just, port it over one to one? And that if the layout design was pulled directly from the Japanese publication, which is going to be right to left format, that it's just going to be much easier for the English arm here to not have to bother flipping and redoing all of their layouts.
Yeah.
And that alone gives them the motivation to just say, all right, we'll do the little thing. And it's, it's right to left, because that's how manga is. Even though we're covering anime here, it's definitely not just a cost cutting and well, I don't even call it cost cutting there. It's really an efficiency method of, okay, if we can just take this and not have to redo graphic design, it just saves us time.
What's fascinating is I found out recently that Nintendo Power's early issues actually went through a very lengthy process of having pages sent back and forth between America and Japan to actually get the magazine right. So I thought that Nintendo Power was a wholly published and written publication for the United States, but Nintendo of Japan had very heavy influence in writing the material and the graphic design and format of that magazine, surprisingly, despite not having a Nintendo magazine in Japan. But anyway, here we have giveaways. This was one of the cool things that some magazines like Nintendo Power and New Type did, with survey cards that you could send in and win stuff. Later on in the issue, there's going to be a little section that has rankings. It's literally people, saying on the survey card what they're looking forward to, what they're watching, stuff.
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
well, we still have this today of, fill out our survey and get entered to win an Amazon gift card or something, or
It's
fill
just
out our
so much
survey.
more fabulous when it's in a magazine like this.
Oh yeah, because here you see
range.
And you see what is very much a Japanese style of giveaway, in that you have the letters for all of the different prizes. Yep. And it shows, how many prizes of each, and that you have A is 10 Read or Die DVDs, and there's Lone Wolf 2100, a New Type USA baseball T-shirt. There's a lot of series here that I don't recognize. Zatoichi meets Yojimbo, Brigadoon, not Lupin the Third, Rupon the Third, the Fuma Conspiracy. Hold on, is that just Lupin, or is that like
that was the publisher? There was two different publishers, because you had one publisher that was using Lupin.
Oh yeah, because we have Lupin the Third right over there. I totally missed it on the next page.
Yeah, it's one of those interesting things, because if I reach over into like my
I'm so confused. It's like
I mean, that's kind of like looking at, and I'm just gonna pull this out for laughs here. Here we have Yu Yu Hakusho, published by our good friends at Funimation, and here we have something that they didn't get the rights to, and somebody else wound up publishing it. US Manga Corps, Yu Yu Hakusho the movie Poltergeist Report, which was originally published as just Poltergeist Report.
Huh. Now, looking it up on Wikipedia, we do see here that Lupin and Rupon are one and the same, that this is Lupin the Third, the Fuma Conspiracy, and that when it was first released in North America in 2003, that it was titled Rupon the Third. And that's fascinating.
Yeah, phonetically.
Because, it's phonetic, but the thing is...
two different publishers publishing the same franchise.
Yeah, that's so weird. It makes me wonder... was there a legal requirement that they couldn't call it Lupin for some reason, since it was a different publisher? Was that something that the other publisher had sort of negotiated to keep them distinct? Because you would think...
might have been licensing, because sometimes there were other companies that would handle licensing and would actually say, no, if you are going to release this, you have to localize it this way. As there were some animes I remember reading online, Sayuki included, that in other countries they got radically different localizations that were less accurate translations and more like, why the hell did you rename that character that? Really just mind-bogglingly dumb decisions that I think came down to international licensing. And I think that it just might have to do with like the animation studios and stuff. It's kind of like I don't know. Lupin's got a very spotty history, just because it's also so long running. I think Lupin was also used in a Laserdisc game, actually, in arcades, called like Cliffhanger or something like that too. It's literally a Lupin the Third movie that got turned into a oh god, what the hell's the name of the game? The Laserdisc game, Dirk the Daring Dragon's Lair.
Dragon's Lair, yeah.
Yeah, it's literally Dragon's Lair, but with Lupin the Third, but with none of the naming and licensing associated with it. Anime was very, very weird. That's why there are some really just diehard people and actually type people within the fandom, because it was a wild west in some ways. And that's part of what's fun of looking back at this magazine, though.
Look, according to Wikipedia, in the United States, Animagio, ANIM, capital EIGO, released it in early 2003 under the title Rupon III, and referred to the character as Rupon. Licensor Toho demanded the change out of fear that the estate of Maurice LeBlanc, the creator of the original Arsène Lupin, would sue for unauthorized use of the name. In October 2007, a 20th anniversary edition was released by Discotech under the title Lupin III.
But yet, Pioneer, I believe, put out Lupin the Third that aired on Adult Swim.
Yeah,
with the
so I'm
name
confused.
Lupin with that logo.
So was the Fuma
This sounds
conspiracy,
like a deep dive we need.
Yeah, because
we need to.
What
do
I want to check is, was the Fuma conspiracy the first part? Was that the first Lupin media to make it to the West? Maybe 87. No, because it wasn't the first produced, certainly. But yeah, there might be a deep dive to be had there,
because there was that Laserdisc game that didn't even use the Lupin name. But
oh my gosh, wait a minute! I love this. Multiple things here. Suncoast, first off, but you have Suncoast manager's pick, Sayuki. But it has like this picture and this mini profile of the manager, Suncoast Manager Store 3400, team member since 2000, Joel.
Wow. So that is a hell of an ad. So yeah, one of my near and dear favorites, Sayuki. We got our cover article right up in front, right away in the
interesting that they have it at the front. Don't magazines usually put their cover articles in the middle?
Yeah, a lot of them tend to put them towards the middle. There's like letters to the editor, all that other stuff. They put the fan letters and everything towards the back end, actually.
That's not super unusual.
Reviews.
Yeah, that's pretty common. I definitely remember seeing that in a lot of different things, that even in manga volumes that you see the letters to the editor are usually at the end. Reviews and such always were at the end for things like Nintendo Power, so that's not shocking.
So Nintendo Power always put their letters to the staff at the beginning. Actually,
did they? Okay, yeah. I'm probably remembering incorrectly. I definitely remember the reviews at the end.
I'd grab an issue of Nintendo Power off my shelf, but we're talking new type.
Yeah. So and this is a pretty in-depth article.
Lengthy article.
Yeah, we're already on 3 full double-sided pages, so that's 6 pages, and it's very text-heavy. That there's images basically on every page, but I would say that 60% of the page, 70% of the page is text.
It's all interview, really.
Yeah, and that's interesting.
About the making of, but of course, it also probably would have been easy to get interviews because it was English. An English property. Up next, we got Mobile Suit Gundam Seed, which was huge for that time period. I want to
wake up my freedom.
Yep, literal English translations.
Yeah,
you can tell that this is a page layout pulled from the Japanese magazine.
I'm seeing some small red text underneath it, but I can't read it from the webcam. What does it say?
The young girl with a passion for singing and the white giant that awaits the moment of its awakening. Does that awakening herald the search for freedom or a desire for justice?
It's good to know that our anime synopses and the direct translations haven't changed in 20 years. That sounds exactly like something we would read even now for our, seasonal review shows. So
yeah, and you can see that this is pulled straight from the Japanese version of New Type, right down to still leaving some Japanese text on the page.
Oh my God, did they?
Right there.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That there's just I I'm guessing that probably says Moment of Awakening because we see it in English there nearby. But that's interesting that they just said, okay, this particular asset has the kanji baked into it, and we like the image, so we're just going to leave it in. There's no way they would give that level of real estate without having it necessitated by the assets.
Yeah. And then I love this right here, actually, like the little chibi,
They're like little
Gundams.
chibi dudes that I can't. So those are not actual products because they look almost like Nendoroids.
Kind of. It reminds me of the very commonly found Hello Kitty Gundam that you see a lot. The actual like crossover, but 2-to-1, they probably did sell a line of chibi product that looked like that at one point in the early 2000s. And then
we have these. Wait a second. So we have all these
Oh.
character profiles here. Wait a minute. Go back for a second.
Yep.
We have all these character profiles, and at the bottom, there's the X and the O. I'm guessing. Oh, so it's compatible with, not compatible with. So that's what they like and what they dislike.
Yep.
And they have the full-on details here that they have naturally birthday. They have blood type.
Yep, which of course is big in Japan, as it was a form of horoscope.
It's a compatibility thing.
Types. Yeah. In this case, compatibility is mentioning other things from the Gundam franchise as well. Because I'm seeing here like Rikdom, Char's Gelgoog. So they aren't in Gundam Seed. So this might be referring to what is this? Get your Gundam fortune. What characters were born under what lucky stars? Okay, so this was partially translated from a full page of Gundam fortunes, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And then these are just the characters' fortunes based off of this. So they didn't give us the full translation for that, unfortunately. But still kind of neat. If you have something in common with one of these characters, there's your fortune. Up next, this one was published by Funimation, I believe. This was Kitty Grade.
Kitty Grade. I've heard this name before. I'm not actually familiar with the series.
It's been forever since I've seen it.
Also, here's one of the really classic ways that you can tell that typing was adapted directly from the Japanese, and it's the inconsistent bolding that we have. What is Eclair dreaming? And you have the WH bolded, AT is not, I as is not, Eclair is bolded, and then dream, ING is not. And the WHAT in particular screams to me that there was one bolded kanji, one unbolded kanji, and that I've always wondered, is that laziness on the translation part? Is it a misunderstanding where the translator doesn't understand that individual letters like that being bolded don't make sense in English, and just that maybe the translator was told what it is and they just did it one-to-one, not fully understanding? Was it a demand by New Type that they keep the font one-to-one, even though it's completely illogical in English? These are questions we will never likely get answers to, but I've always found it fascinating because somehow it wound up like this when it is very clearly something that should not happen in English.
It's something that they still do to this day when doing English versions of titles too.
Well,
actually,
in some cases you'll see it, but at least with complete words, it's not as common nowadays to see split font formatting in the same word.
I swear I've seen it in a few anime recently on like Crunchyroll with their titles within like the past few years or past few seasons.
Part of me says that I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know any off the top of my head, but I could still believe, and I am still curious where along the production line does that end up happening.
Yeah. So we have more of that font styling as well.
But at least here it's consistent word to word.
Well,
Oh no, wait, no, sorry, the W. No, yeah, all of will is normal. Oh, yep,
All of will.
everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
I will destroy everything.
Yeah. And up next here we have Lime Iro Senkitan. I don't know if this came out stateside or not.
I assume it had to if it was in here.
Not all of them did actually. Or if they did, they came out like years afterwards.
Let me see. Lime Iro Senkitan.
This one has an infamous GIF: the wipe your mouth and the girl like biting the boob.
Oh,
that one.
Let me see here. So I'm doing a quick check on Wikipedia to see, was it ever released in English? I don't know if it was.
This one was released, Technolize.
Yes, I do remember that one.
And here's a big 2-page for Spirited Away.
Spirited Away, yeah. And actually, that would make sense because if this is 2003, this would have been just months after Spirited Away won the Oscar.
Really?
Because if memory serves, Spirited Away won the 2002 Oscar, meaning that the ceremony would have been in early 2002.
Yeah, we got.
Let me see here. Oh no, wait, maybe I'm wrong.
This one came out in 2004 stateside.
Came out in 2001 in Japan. British Film Awards was for 2004. Japan Award. Having trouble finding it here. Yes, it was in 2002 Academy Awards. No, sorry, that's sorry, it was 2003. It was 2003 because it was the 75th Academy Awards. And that was March 23rd, 2003. So I was right because it was released in 2002, and that this was then printed shortly after the Oscar win.
Oh, there we go.
I like the subtitle there. So it's all about tears and vomited emotion. Now, what's also interesting is the picture on the page before it says flowing emotions. I wonder if there was just a bad translation that resulted in vomited. I can't imagine that an English-speaking editor put vomited emotion.
My knowledge of kanji is very, 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 very rough, unfortunately, because I'm looking at this and going, "Sore wa kanji." No.
Oh no! Wait, no! I'm seeing something that there is a mention of that the concept of being all about tears. That at one point one of the characters vomits, and I see the line: "His vomit acts as tears as a way to release part of himself and express his feelings." Oh yes, for No Face. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, so that's not a mistranslation. That's still quite the subtitle, though.
DN Angel, I remember that one was huge.
Yes, this was airing in May 2003 in Japan, so it was probably getting prepped for its release stateside.
Yep. Sora Nostalgia.
I've never heard of this.
That was currently airing in Japan at the time. This did get released stateside. I didn't watch it because DVDs were expensive.
So released simply as Stelvia in the US, or Stelvia of the Universe in the US. Was released by Discotech. Yep. Original run was in April of 2003. I don't think it ever was broadcast stateside, so I think it was
definitely didn't make broadcast. Here's Blue Sub 6. This was Studio Gonzo, and this made its way to television for Toonami, actually.
Oh, really? I've never seen this show.
5 or 6 episode OVA. And yeah, absolutely gorgeous animation coming from like one of the very earliest to use CGI in anime for all of the underwater scenes with the subs and stuff like that. Um I want to say it's the same artist that did oh god, I can't remember the name of it. Involved planes. Um but yeah, um great stuff with that. It is definitely iconic and certainly very edgy for something to air on Toonami actually. Like this was kind of pushing boundaries for that time slot. But very nice article talking of Studio Gonzo and Blue Sub 6. Now we get the section New Type Express. So what's going on in Japan now? So we have here DN Angel, another Suncoast highlight, this time for
Now,
Cowboy
interesting, they
Bebop.
used the full name of this manager, Jim Devine, Devine,
Hmm,
whereas the other one, it just had the first name Joel.
just said
So,
Joel.
yeah.
Let's see. Mermaid Melody, Pitchy Pitchy Pitchy, Digicharet, which of course did get a recent season not too long ago, actually. Reiwa no Digicharet.
Oh, this is interesting. We have Sabrina here. And what's
Yeah,
also interesting, this is so weird because I was thinking about this character like a week ago who I hadn't thought about in ages because I was thinking, that's a brand, that's a character that felt pretty iconic when I was younger that I haven't seen in decades, and that's Madeline.
yeah,
That the
yeah.
girl in the yellow right there is Madeline. I do see it. That in addition to Sabrina, the animated version of Madeline, the best-selling picture book about a girl who lives in a dormitory in Paris, also began airing in Japan this March. So this is actually where we see the full cultural exchange loop of different American animation properties getting to Japan.
Yeah.
My guess, looking at this, I do
Courtesy of
see.
Canada because it's DEEK Entertainment.
Yeah, I was going to say I see the copyright DEEK Entertainment there underneath both of those images, and you can even see the animation similarities. So it's not shocking that DEEK, who licensed and got shows from Japan, would
Sailor Moon.
exactly, would then in turn license their own properties to Japan.
Next page here.
There's a name
Boku
folks will
Trust World.
recognize. Last Exile.
Oh yeah, actually that was what skipped my brain actually, because that's the same character artist I believe did Blue Sub 6.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Last Exile, Scrap Princess, another one that did come stateside eventually. Tenshi no Shippochu.
Which
This
was
month in
released.
anime history, 1977, America's first anime fan club meeting was also the same month of the release of the original Star Wars movie.
Ah, how about that?
It's a hell of a time to be a nerd right there.
Now, a little
Um,
something interesting I see here. A small article, Viz's Second Chances. And I can't quite read the subtitle there. Feeling bad because you missed a lot of the popular manga the first time around. Fret not because Viz is making most of its beloved manga series available again in its new second editions program. But what catches my eye, I see pen marks here. Did you make these annotations yourself, or did you get this magazine secondhand, Jace?
it's probably noting either I made or a friend made in it in high school. It's
And
over
there's a bit of glare, so I can't read exactly what it says.
so it was mentioning that these mangas were getting reprinted in a smaller format um, at a slightly cheaper price from what they used to be. And it included DBZ, Gundam Wing, Utena, Ranma 1 half, Fushigi Yugi, Inuyasha, and X. Actually, arguably all classics at
Yeah.
this point.
Well, it makes sense that
So
generally speaking, especially during this time, only the best of the best are going to get printed at all, much less be given a second print run.
Yeah. Then a section talking about news for anime in Australia and the UK as well.
And
An
also the mention of
advertisement
Lupin's live action adventures.
Yep. And an advertisement for something else A to be published. Live action entertainment from America, from syndicated television. Mutant X.
The companies that brought you Daredevil and Gene Roddenberry's Andromeda now bring you Mutant X. You can get them at Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, Best Buy, FYE, and Suncoast, which, shockingly, most of these still exist.
Shockingly. More advertising. Boogie Pop Phantom. Red Octane, who notably brought Guitar Hero to the masses.
Yes.
New
Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Clamp artist Satsuki Igarashi's Chipmunk Cheeks. So these were actual articles written by mangaka and other authors in Japan. So this was actually
these are profiles.
This was written by Satsuki Igarashi from Clamp for this one here. And this was animator Shinichi Suzuki. These were actual editorials by authors that were, and then we also had some for the US. We had Fred Patton as well, discussing how do you properly translate a title, Astro Boy or Astro Boy, all one word. Inuyasha with a hyphen or Inuyasha all one word. Dragon Ball, is it 2 words or 1 word?
Honestly, that's something that I find fascinating.
It is actually, like, you know, this
and
is...
and it says here, sometimes there may be a good reason for a discrepancy. The copyright dispute over the rights to Lupin the Third. It's mentioned right here.
Yeah.
The first American anime. Sorry, you rumbled the thing that lost focus. Companies to license Lupin the Third movies and TV episodes were instructed by Tokyo Movie Shinsha to change his name because at that time the name Lupin III could not be used outside of Japan. So he was called Lupin III. Now that's an interesting particular intricacy of copyright law where it was fine in Japan, but not internationally.
That is interesting, actually. And of course, now that, it's gone into the public domain, literally anybody can use the name Lupin.
Oh, yeah. We see Arsène Lupin being used everywhere nowadays.
Yeah. But they bring about a lot of interesting things like, Amagami-sama. Is it my goddess or oh my goddess? Or another example would be they've mentioned Helsing. It isn't Alucard, the misspelling of Alucard. It is meant to be Alucard, thus it is Alucard.
Because it is
stay with it.
Yeah, because it's Dracula backwards. But that would be a reference to Universal Pictures, 1943, son of Dracula. And yeah, we now have Jonathan Clement's Living Manga mentions I Dream of Jeannie. Hold on. So in the early days of Japanese television, there simply weren't enough studios and cameramen to keep the TV industry going, and Japan turned to the older American market in search of programming filler. One such program was the 1965 comedy I Dream of Jeannie, in which a astronaut finds a genie in a bottle on a desert island and gains himself a pint-sized adoring servant. She literally fits in the palm of his hand in an iconic publicity shot that was to stay in the minds of an entire generation. When members of that generation grew up to become manga artists themselves, someone was bound to steal it. And you see that Minami's Sweetheart is based on a manga in which 7-year-old schoolboy promises his childhood sweetheart that he will treat her to dinner on his 18th birthday. Just sort of skimming through here, and basically it gets to that at some point they have the recreation of that shot, and that's really cool. These are the types of articles I always enjoyed. That the anime profiles and hype up articles are kind of neat, and that they could get me interested in things. But I always found these types of stories really, really compelling.
It's something that I really enjoy about this actually is that I can go back when I'm bored and appreciate something in here that I didn't appreciate years ago because of my worldview changing. I can look back at something slightly more academically. And it's interesting as the issues go on that certain parts, based on the surveys, certain parts would get fine tuned. Certain articles or certain kinds of articles and sections wouldn't remain in the magazine over the years. It's really interesting about that. Up next, manga, Full Metal Panic, which reading this made me want to watch the anime. I thought the anime was going to be funny. The anime was actually an action drama. All the comedy wound up getting pushed off into a side season, Full Metal Panic
Fumofu.
Which is funny because, sure enough, what made me want to read it was actually the one where I demand a plain roll. The lunch one where they had to like take over the lunch cart and the gym teacher's all obsessed with trying to like nab Sosuke. Oh my god. It was a funny issue. And hey, look, covering your walls in posters that came in new type.
I mean, I covered my wall in posters I got from Nintendo Power that I had.
My walls were covered in new type and Nintendo posters. I still have some of these posters actually. And the Anime Network, which I think is still available on demand for cable operators.
Is it?
I think so.
Let's see here. No, it has been replaced by High Dive.
Okay, so High Dive has now. Okay, well that makes sense because of AMC networks, but for the longest time it was still listed. I think like as of like a few years ago, there were still things from the Anime Network still
also,
there.
for some reason, I feel like I think it's a nope, it's not still a thing in the UK. It was for all of a year.
Here we have Sayuki, but they're showing its Japanese title, Gensobaden Sayuki, interestingly enough. Despite being published stateside as just Sayuki. And yeah, getting a full 6 pages actually, which I thought was awesome. This is
Battle on the Road.
This is a one of my all-time favorites. And then quick bit with Shinichiro Watanabe as Cowboy Bebop the movie came out.
Ah, yes.
It's my favorite line from Spike in that movie. I love a girl that can kick my ass.
Yep.
Wow, G4.
Hey,
remember
some
that
classic G4 right here. That's great.
And then we had something on X-Men because of
X2, yep,
coming out. Boy, has Hollywood come a long way. With
and yet Hugh Jackman still looks as good as ever.
Yeah. Followed by Gatekeepers 21. I think this aired on G4 at one point, actually.
Really?
Yep, this was Pioneer Animation did that. That was part of they used to do it wasn't Anna Midnight. They had a different block of programming. This is something I would love to see get re-released. Kikaider, the animation. Shotaro Yoshinamori's classic tale about a cyborg that has feelings and fights evil. Basically Astro Boy, but more tokusatsu.
Yeah, I can tell just from the art style and the way the characters are. Yeah.
Well, it was the same guy who created Kamen Rider and Cyborg 009. He had a thing for cyborgs.
That scans.
But this even shows the adaptations over the years of the characters in live action and animated forms, which I thought was kind of neat. Fruits Basket, of course, was huge for the
original
2000s,
one,
the first run. Read or Die.
Yeah, let's get ready for Read or Die. Yeah. So this is obviously a hype piece for the upcoming release.
DVD coming out May 2003 from Pioneer. And then the official art. I used to love these sections because this was great for like cosplay reference. So being able to like look at all of the individual like, you know, drawings of a character and deconstructions pointing out like props and stuff like that. So of course we have Son Goku, Genjo Sanzo, which is that's how I designed my cosplay of him back in 2005 was looking at the official art in these pages.
Meanwhile, this is super easy content because this is the type of stuff that is going to be going in art books in Japan that aren't being published stateside anyways, or things that are included in manga volumes or special add-ons that, again, aren't being done stateside, but they have this content. And most of it is visual. The rest of it is just blurbs. And this is the type of stuff that they can just take and translate wholesale and then put in. And it fills up several pages, but it's also just genuinely good and interesting stuff that people will want to see. So magazines loved when they had this type of content to work with.
Here's something mind-blowing. An advertisement for a physical location.
That's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see how it pans out for them advertising what is a national publication at this point for where was this?
Ann Arbor, Michigan, WYSIWYG Collectibles. Order online.
No, there it is. There it is. That's why they do it, because they have the online ordering, and Amazon probably at this point in time almost certainly isn't going to be carrying any of that stuff, and the Amazon marketplace isn't up, so that's why that is a very enterprising local store that I hope was rewarded for that.
This was a cool section that was in every issue. Anime Land. This was showing you the TV ratings of every show currently airing at that moment in Japan, along with episode synopses for the month of those shows, which they give you a fair warning. There will be spoilers for shows that may not have come out in America yet. Even if they are in America. Shows currently airing in Japan in May of 2003 include Ashita no Naja, Asobot Senkigoku, Digimon Frontier, Dragon Drive, Fullmoon o Sagashite, Galaxy Angel, Get Backers Dakanya, Gun Parade March, Dot Hack, Legend of Twilight's Bracelet, Heat Guy J, Hikaru no Go, Inuyasha, Kitty Grade, Kiko Senyo Roran, Lime Iro Senkitan, LR licensed by royalty, Mahotsukai ni Taisetsu na Koto, Maju Sensen, The Apocalypse.
There's a stunning lack of translated titles here, or perhaps I should say unstunning lack.
So, I mean, it says Meikantai Conan, parentheses, Detective Conan, Kido Senshi Gundam Seed, Mobile Suit Gundam Seed, Mouse, Nanaka 617, all bold, Naruto, all bold, One Piece, Overman King Geiner, Pocket Monster Advanced Generation, Pokemon, Princess Tutu, Kuchipuri Yusie, Shutsugeki Machine Robo Rescue, Shin Megami Tensei Devil Children Light and Dark, Spiral, Sui no Kizuna, Stratos 4, The Big O, Tokyo Mew Mew, Wagamama Fairy Mirumo Depon, Wolf's Rain, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters.
We do also see the future of anime is in your hands. Don't let a single issue slip through your fingers. Subscribe today at newtype-usa.com. I have just checked. That website is defunct.
My favorite. Subscribe now or the Menchie gets it.
Oh my God.
I love Excel Saga. And being published by ADV, they can take advantage of that.
Yeah, and we have here
for the United States include
the Cramp Twins.
Yeah, weirdly enough, because it aired on Fox Box
and Fox.
We got ABC Family pointing out Beyblade, Metabots, Tokyo Pig, along with Power Rangers Ninja Storm. Action Channel, which that was an offshoot of Encore. They had Anna Midnight on Friday nights, mentioning that they were playing Gunsmith Cats, Tekken the Motion Picture, Twilight of the Dark Master, Blood Rain, Curse of the Yoma, and Tokyo Babylon, which is the prequel to X. Cartoon Network, of course, running Adult Swim and Toonami at that time. Fox Box, which was what we were talking about earlier with the 4Kids dubbed bits.
Yeah, but we still have a couple entries down the WB, and it's interesting that they note it as the WB despite the website being kidswb.com, and that they mention Pokemon Master Quest, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Jackie Chan Adventures, The Mummy, and Static Shock. So they are not limiting themselves to just anime titles here. And
I guess that's because, anime, when we think of anime, we think animation from Japan.
Yeah.
But for Japan, anime is just all of animation.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes sense that this magazine would stick to that formula and, cover Western animation in there. Tech TV, which is later on to become G4 Tech TV, and then later just G4. They were airing anime intermittently as well. International channel. That was where I got my first taste of Slayers, actually. It was international channel.
Don't know if my family got the international channel, the action channel. I don't recognize either of those. I don't think we got the anime network.
Yeah,
we didn't get Tech TV and G4 TV until I was in high school. I do remember that.
Of course, we have monthly sales charts, new releases.
This, of course, being sales in Japan, not in the US, I assume.
Japan, yes, entirely Japan. In fact, it's interesting because, even looking at monthly sales on DVD, here ranked at number 3 is Sento Chihiro no Kamikakushi, Spirited Away from Buena Vista Home Entertainment. Ranked above it, Beauty and the Beast Special Limited Edition.
It's always the special limited editions.
And outselling that, Ice Age Special Edition.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Ice Age beating out Beauty and the Beast and Spirited Away. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose at that point in time, Ice Age would have been new because it was released around that time. True. Beauty and the Beast, obviously, at this point, is a re-release. And Spirited Away.
You can't beat the appeal of Sid.
Yeah. Plus, Spirited Away at this point would have also been a couple of years old because this was after it won the Academy Award, which means it's probably a year and a half, 2 years after it was released in Japan.
New releases. Look at how small this is. How tiny. The new releases for May 2003 are in America for manga, only filling one half of the page.
One half of the page. Well, they're still pretty small entries, so I would assume what is this? Here, this is probably 40.
Volume 1. Crayon Shin-Chan graphic novel, Digimon Volume 2, Dragon Ball, Great Teacher Onizuka, Ghost in the Shell, Gatekeepers, Kadekano, Love Hina Volume 10.
There's 65 entries on this list.
Wow.
So honestly, though, 65 manga being released in a month in the US at that point in time, that's a lot.
And keep in mind, some of these were being printed in comic book format, too, on top of it all.
We have a full list of upcoming conventions.
Yeah, wow. Let's see. We got... how many of these still exist?
I see Anime Central, which I know happened last weekend. Project Acon's right there as well. Anime Mid-Atlantic Fanime Con. Anime Expo. Yep. San Diego Comic-Con, naturally. Otakon. Anime Fest. Oh, Big Apple Anime Fest. Rest in pieces.
Yeah. YowieCon.
Oh my God, that's great.
Oh my God. I like that ad right there too. Put the cat girl instead of the lion.
MGM. Yeah, wait a minute. What's this? Chicken Boy International. Pick up your free stickers at chickenboy.org. What? What is Chicken Boy?
I don't know.
1 second. I'm seeing if the website is still active. I'm so... What the heck?
I am so confused and disturbed.
Nope. It redirects to a different site. That's really weird.
Wow. Yeah, and of course, House of Anime also has J-Pop House with Hide, rest in peace, from X Japan there. Interview with Ryoko Nagata as she was playing Eclair in Kitty Grade. Here's the letters and fan art section.
Now, I'm curious, is this art by US or Japanese fans?
Mara Louise Sispon, age 14, Congers, New York.
Okay, so this is American fan art.
Yep, American fan
Also,
art.
geez, they put in what I'd consider kind of a risque piece of fan art here. Like, it's Twitch safe, no doubt about it. But like, okay,
From,
that's
Steel Angel Kurumi. Yeah. Yeah, lots of fan art, of course.
Oh yeah, and it's just, you can tell this really looks like your early 2000s
Looks like what I used
English
to draw back in high
speaker
school.
trying to draw Japanese style. Oh boy.
Although I will say some of this is like damn near professional.
Yeah,
right?
well,
I
you
mean,
can
like,
see the folks that probably
age
went
18,
on
San
to
Jose, California.
Yeah, you can see the folks that probably went on to do art, or the ones who were more likely to wind up on DeviantArt and actually make something out of it.
One of my favorite portions here, anime on campus. Nothing makes you want to go to college like reading about anime clubs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that didn't age very well. Con report, photos from conventions.
Con reports.
Katsucon.
Oh, what is that picture of somebody in the snow?
I don't know. It just looks like somebody leaning into a bunch of stuff laid out in the snow.
Yeah, it says this
Actually,
year cold and the con collided. So this would have been one of those years where there was a winter storm leading up to it.
what really gets me actually is seeing somebody cosplaying Gacht from the band Malice Miser, actually. Man, that takes me back. Interview with Jason Marsden about Spirited Away and his voice acting career in animation, including Fox's Peter Pan and the Pirates, Disney's Gummy Bears, Goof Troop, and then stuff coming out. Razafon.
R-A-H-E.
RAHXEPHON.
Yeah, we have an ad for Anime Central here. This month's
Project
DVD
A-Co,
box,
damn.
Project A-Co.
Damn, that takes me back. Chobits. And of course, back then, you'd only get like 3-4 episodes on a disc.
Yep.
So,
3-4 episodes on disc, and you'd be paying like $40 for it, and that's $40 in $2003, which probably translates to something about 60 nowadays or something.
When you're being a cheap high school student and not spending your lunch money so you can buy anime instead.
Kiki's delivery service. Now, so are these reviews, or are these just like
these are reviews
synopses
of things being released on DVD at the time?
Yeah, that these are so. Something that's interesting here. These are just full written editorial reviews. There are no scores here, though.
Nope, these are just more like synopses and synopsis reviews.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got a section for gaming thrown in here. X2 Wolverine's Revenge. Ikaruga, classic right there. Auto Modelista. I didn't even realize that Capcom released a racing game at one point. Oh my god, Dot Hack. Be Still My Beating Heart.
Dot Hack
Volume
Part 2 Mutation.
Yeah. With a review for Dot Hack Part 1 Infection.
Murakumo Renegade Mech Pursuit, mech series that obviously did not get much traction.
Yep. Evil Dead, Fistful of Boomstick.
Oh my gosh.
And then of course we got music
Music.
releasing in Japan. Psychic
Yeah, here like this is the early parts of K-pop, or sorry, not K-pop, J-pop, making its way into the West, really, because anime was finally big enough where you were able to get a publication like this. J-pop, internet's still early-ish at this point, and CD stores are still a thing at this point. That iTunes hasn't completely destroyed physical media yet, and so you're seeing here there's a lot of CD album art.
Sideburn Club Mix from Pioneer Entertainment. I'm assuming it's remixes of Lupin's 70s soundtracks. And Slayer's Return, the motion picture R soundtrack from ADV Music. What's going on in the world of industrial robotics?
Cagdilla Records.
Psytrance distributor in the United States. Okay.
I'm curious if it's still active. I'm seeing
grade statues.
Interesting. I'm seeing Cagdilla Records on Bandcamp. I don't know if it's the original or if this is someone who might have enjoyed that growing up and done it after it was defunct. I'm not seeing a Wikipedia page or anything on the company.
Kinokuniya bookstore is still strong after all these years.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Even an article about how anime is produced back in the day.
Part 7.
Yeah. Well, this was the 7th.
Makes sense. Episode, or yeah, this is issue 7.
Then we got stuff about books here. Chimera, Crescendo, Bagged and Boarded. Haha, American comics reference. Your horoscope. Horoscopes. Let's see here. What was my horoscope in May of 2003? Leo. Misunderstandings with some important people could cause you quite a few setbacks right now. Try to make some helpful new friends late in the month. You'll have the chance to improve finances by month's end. Conflicts with partners could get pretty intense right now. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Try to lay low early in the month when your energies are down and you're likely to be misunderstood by others. You'll be feeling like yourself again by month's end. Opportunities, I can't see the text. It's kind of blurry on my end.
Opportunities
Gemini.
in the month could lead to real financial rewards. Try to keep any feelings for a friend to yourself for now. So even a section on websites, I guess, to keep an eye out for some odd reason. And then the rules for the giveaway and staff and one last editorial piece.
What's the headline there? It's a bit cut off in the video.
The far west, in the closet. I was shut in a closet the size of a phone booth with just enough room for my legs. Or rather, there would have been, except for the microphone stand that loomed above me. Its chunky business end swelled up by a gauze spit shield.
Wait a minute, we still have that today.
Yeah, I know, right? Nothing's changed. And
then the final, inside back cover ads. And there you go. Yeah, Tokyo Babylon gets the back cover here. The bone-chilling sequel to X the movie, DVD $19.99, not a bad price.
Which is weird because, I mean, it's actually a prequel.
Huh. And you've just tossed the DVD right there. Was that the DVD that was included with this issue, or did you buy that yourself separately and happen to have it on hand?
Separately, actually.
Okay, because you that was well timed and thrown right there, and it's the same art.
Yeah, I am a big Clamp fan. So, and I mean, we really deep dived into this issue.
Oh yeah, no, but that was so fun.
I was prepared with 3 more
Nah, man, we can
May
do that
5ths, but
other
we
weeks,
can
other
tackle
months.
these any other time.
Yeah, but
But for the hell of it, let's take a look real quick at one of the DVDs that came in for laughs.
sure, why not?
This
We're
is not
running a
the
bit over
DVD.
today, but
Yeah, well, these do tend to run a little over because of just how much content there is. Here
oh
is
my gosh, that intro.
a random DVD.
I'm legitimately impressed by this ad. That ad aged remarkably well. Like the visuals were on point, the music was fine,
Yeah.
the VO was solid. Like that was a really well put together, subscribe to this magazine ad. Like even today, assume that it would be for a product that actually would sell well today. That's not like the most professional by today's standards. By that day's standards, that was stellar. And by today's standards,
Yeah.
it would still probably get a pass.
So we can see here, very bare bones DVD menu here, but
Now, this
we
is
had
of note, not the same DVD that came with that issue. This says July
no.
2006. So
That's
3 years
because
later.
that's because 2003 they were putting only 1 episode at a time on the discs. And if I look real quick here, do I still May 2003 actually was a rare one. It did have several episodes on here. It had Sakura Wars TV, Samurai Deeper Kyo, and Boogie Pop Phantom, as well as a trailer for The Animatrix. Now, on top of 3 episodes of shows here, Strawberry Marshmallow from Jenny On, Technoman from Media Blasters, and Ninja Nonsense from The Right Stuff International. Wow, only one of these companies still exists.
Well, yeah.
So,
Wow, this is a solid number here, actually. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 episodes. This has more than the average anime DVD that's actually being sold.
these are all trailers, actually.
Oh, they're just trailers, not full episodes.
It has 1 episode of each of those 3 shows, and then trailers for a ton of ADV film stuff, and a game from Nipponichi Software.
Okay, so it's 3 episodes. So that still makes it just about what you're going to get on an actual paid DVD. And obviously, these are only episode 1s, but that's real value, especially back in the day.
Yeah, and I mean, plus, if none of those shows did it for you, maybe one of these trailers would, get you curious. Because I mean, after all, they were promoting Slim Pack DVD box sets at the time, as a way to get people into the door with. Wow, that
Oh my.
thin is in.
Now, thank goodness. This is incredible.
Wow.
That
I have some of the thin pack box sets from back in the day, like Zone of the Enders. But yeah, I preferred the thick box collections more, that you had to collect volume by volume.
the pixelation on the ADV logo is what makes it.
It's that standard definition graphic. And one for the Anime Network here.
Oh no, it's live action.
I remember seeing this commercial actually on in between stuff for the Anime Network.
I was giving high praise to the magazine ad. Not so much on that one.
Well, that clearly was just a television bumper to play in between episodes of stuff, which I mean, when you consider that the majority of your stuff is licensed content that's been translated into English, you got to cut corners somewhere, you know. And if you're paying an arm and a leg for the licensing and translation and dubbing, yeah, your TV bumpers are going to be, well, TV bumpers are largely experimental, goofy, weird junk to begin with. Yeah, we can't show any other trailers or videos from this as we don't want to get flagged for anything. Yeah, quite the collection of odds and ends that they always manage to include on these DVDs. I just happened to pick this one for its variety.
Yeah, and we're running a bit over, but that's just, you know, how much cool stuff there is. And this is a single issue, a single DVD. So we're going to head out for now, but we're definitely going to return to more of these later. That I remembered we'd only done this once before, and, you know, it's that middle of the season time. So you can definitely expect more new type exploration in the future. But for now, I'll be back with RJ next Thursday, but as always, you can get wonderful nerdy content here most nights of the week on Digital Era Twitch, and you can join the discussion in our Discord. Be sure to follow, like, subscribe, all that jazz here on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And on YouTube, you can see the trailer for Kokoro no Pro, our upcoming visual novel that is being head up by Mario and RJ. And actually, we have a brand new trailer up there, so definitely be sure to check it out. You can find our friends Image Anime at imageanime.com and use the code DESCOUNTSHIP, that is DEESCOUNTSHIP, for free shipping on orders of $100 or more. And you can get Digital Era Entertainment merchandise from merch.streamelements.com/Digital Era Entertainment. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. Stay safe, stay sane, and we will see you next time on Digital Era Twitch.
Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and follow us across social media for updates. Thanks for watching!